And we're live.
Welcome to episode 14 of the Bow and Aaron podcast.
Welcome, welcome. I just got back from the gym, had some Jersey Mikes. I am in high spirits.
I just got done watching UFC Vegas 56.
Nice. What was the big fight on the card?
Rosenstrike and Volkov, and then uh, that was like the big fight. All the other fights were they were like good fights, is not like very hyped up or anything though.
So is that for like the heavyweight
That was six and
like
seven.
second place?
No, it was
Oh,
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Dude, I went to the climbing gym and I think I did almost all of the problems on the new set, besides maybe like two of them, but haven't been this week and went there and just did all the new ones this week, so that's cool.
Do they make a new problems like every week or something, or is it once a month,
Yeah,
or what's the?
Tuesday, Thursday.
Gotcha.
They set on Tuesdays and
How do
Thursdays.
they do that? Do they like look off a real life wall and copy it, or just like do random?
No, just like usually, well, I mean, it's always like random, but usually there's like a motif to them. Like, um, I mean, they choose one section of wall and like redo it, but typically they'll be like all the problems will have a bunch of heel hooks in them or something, and that's just probably a gym specific thing. But they do rotate the walls like very often, so it's
Gotcha.
it's pretty nice. Yeah, dude. Any news on the Rings of Power? We're getting closer to the release date.
Comes out in September. I haven't really heard much lately.
Yeah, I've been kind of watching some YouTube videos on people discussing it, but it seems like they're sort of just discussing the release trailer, which I got around to watching. I don't know when the fuck that came out, but
It's a while ago. They haven't had the real trailer yet. Like that shows actual like footage or whatever. Or no, not sound I meant like there's like a hype trailer. Like they showed us the teaser trailer. They didn't show us like the actual trailer. So
gotcha.
if that
So
makes sense.
nothing in that trailer is expected to be actually in the series.
I mean, it is, but like it was just like little snippets. You know what I mean? Like little like two
Yeah,
second.
that's
It
what a
wasn't
trailer
like
is, though.
I don't know, but there's gonna be one more trailer. I think that's like a longer trailer with like dialogue in it or something.
Gotcha. Dude, who's doing the music for it? Do you know? Are they getting Howard Shore?
Um, I don't know. That I don't think that information has been. At least I haven't seen it yet. So
I see. Well, keep some high hopes. What were you wanting to discuss today?
remember I sent you that text like life is an RPG.
Oh, dude, I do remember that. Let me pull it up.
So basically, I want to talk about like how life is basically an RPG. Like it really is. Like there's different play styles. There's different builds. Like there's mini games. There's like grinds and like random bad stuff that can happen to you. And there's like people that don't know how to play the game and they get like I don't know. I think it could be interesting to compare like and I guess RPG like you could say like Skyrim's like one I would compare it to I guess RuneScape kind of. Um, Fallout, not really. If life was like Fallout, that would suck.
Life's gonna be like Fallout.
Yeah, dude. Gas was like 5.15. I paid like 5.15 per gallon today,
Damn, son. I was paying 480, I think.
so it's pretty depressing. But I guess like going into the today's topic, like I wanted to. What made me think of this was like there's there's like basically two ways you can play life once you graduate college. You can like get like more stable job, get like a guaranteed but like a known and guaranteed income that's not necessarily huge and like slowly work your way up, or you can like be entrepreneurial, take risks and try to like get exponential growth in your wealth. I mean, that's just like the money perspective, but there's other things too. But I was thinking like, for example, I use RuneScape because it's the easiest one for me to think of. Like, you could like kill wyverns like all day, every day, and make like a steady income or whatever. It's not that high, but it's guaranteed basically. Or you could like start like um,
Doing raids or something.
not even raids. Like raids isn't exponential. I'm talking like what's it called? Like risk PKing or whatever. Or PKing stands for player killing for the audience, but basically risk PKing, like two players, they both have an agreement of, if I kill you, I'm getting all your items plus like whatever agreed upon sum and millions of coins, and you can keep gambling more and more money, or not gambling, but like dueling for higher and higher amounts and make a huge amount of money. But you also expose yourself to a huge amount of risk um, if you keep losing, obviously. So, but that was like my main thing. Like, that's like the main example that I was made me think of like life is like an RPG. Like, it's pretty for most people. Like, you just take like the guaranteed steady thing, and you don't expose yourself to huge risk, but you also don't get that huge upside either. So, what do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I think a lot of the advice that I've been given as far as like financial ventures is to like basically take as many risks as you can or like as you want to, or I don't know, I guess the best way to phrase this is like if you accept that there's going to be X amount of risks that you take in your life, you should weight them very heavily towards the beginning of your life because you don't have as much to lose and they can pay off. And I mean, really, realistically, everything in your life's most things in your life that are important are subject to like exponential profit because if you learn something or have something earlier on, you can use that, as capital, we'll say, to increase your prospects at being successful, whatever in the future. But um, the way that I kind of see the advice that you should be riskier in your youth versus your later days, I think that's probably the best supporting evidence for kind of what you just put forth, or at least the best strategy, I think. So it lines up pretty well, and I mean, obviously, there's people that specialize and people that are called to do different things. I think RPGs are a bit more simplistic than life because there's generally like big things that are felt like in RuneScape, for example. Whenever Raids 3 gets released, like you're not really gonna see like real players at Wyverns sort of thing. I mean, like
I
maybe
mean,
there'll
that
be
was just an
some.
example. There's still gonna
I
be
know, I know, but I'm
low level
saying like
players like killing whatever to make money, or killing cows or whatever.
yeah, but a lot of the players that are like doing the you know, wyverns, black dragons, gargoyles, like fucking pick your poison, all of them combined. Every single one of them. God Wars, all those people are going to be at Raids 3. So I think RPGs are more subject to the whims of, the decision making of the game studio. Whereas in life, unless life's a simulation, there's not a game studio making decisions to kind of like because at the end of the day, an RPG is a game that's usually designed to drive profit for the shareholders of the company that made the game, and that can kind of pervert the analogy a little bit in my eyes.
Well, obviously, it's like not gonna be like a one-to-one analogy, but I think there's a lot of similarities though.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't played much WoW or anything, but I think that would probably be a better place to look because when you have like your team or whatever, your party, there's people that voluntarily choose to like be the cleric or the tank or the ranged DPSer or the ranged like crowd controller or the melee tank, crowd control AoE or everyone like takes these roles and does them. And you're not like you can't do everything. You can't be a jack of all
Yeah,
trades sort of thing.
you
And
can,
it's
but you'll just be shitty at all of them.
yeah.
And also, like some people get distracted by mini games. I guess like the mini game of the life RPG is video games, or even like like basketball or football or something. Cause like in The Witcher 3, like this is what happened to me. Like I stopped playing the actual game and just played the mini game Gwent. Like 20, I made like literally no progress in with The Witcher and just played Gwent all the time. So I guess
What's
that's how
Gwent?
like some people get distracted by video games. It's like all they do all the time, which I don't think. I don't know. I don't think it's good, but
Yeah, but I think you could say that for anything.
yeah, any
Some
mini
people get
game of
distracted.
life.
No, yeah, any mini game of life. Some people get distracted by money, and they make that their thing. Some people get distracted by like their work. Some people get distracted by video games. Some people get distracted by buying like nice cars or guns or
Or shoes or whatever.
yeah. And it's I think it's a lot of those things. That's why I was saying I think the analogy falls apart a little bit because like in life, or at least my goal in life is to become some sort of jack of all trades. And not really like all trades, but every every trade that a human should be able to do with some amount of proficiency, I want to be able to do. So like basic social skills, medical care. You have to be able to raise children. You should be able to at least, or interact with small people, things like that. Like you should. There's like a baseline of humanism. Your stat should be at least this. You know what I mean? Like base 70s in RuneScape or something like that. Like you're just expected to have that. But then I enjoy roasting coffee and foraging for mushrooms and climbing rocks and doing all this. So I'm gonna spec myself into those things too and try to get 99 in all those. And within the circles kind of that you choose to be a jack of all trades of, I think that's where you find the human connections and stuff that really matters. So I think these pursuits can all be in vain if there's not like a profound, or not, it doesn't even have to be profound, but at least some social connection that you kind of have with that activity. And certainly there are some kind of solo pursuits like I think a good example is like Colton and powerlifting, but I think you should maybe only have like one of those, and that should, maybe is the thing that you're like really trying to be like great at, sort of thing. And or your career. That'd probably be another acceptable one. But I would also posit that a lot of days at like at least my work that tend to go faster, I have really nice and like wholesome patient interactions, and then I get into like good conversations with my coworkers. So there's something to be said about social interaction at work as well. But I digress.
So yeah, I think like another thing is like the skills you can cultivate is kind of similar to an RPG. Like some people completely ignore like strength, but will go all out in like endurance or vice versa and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how that works. And also like I guess I don't know, there's just so many different play styles of life. Like I don't know if I know my
Also,
play style.
I feel like in life too, it's weird because like okay, so imagine in RuneScape, you like had two sets of armor and you like put one on and then had the other in your inventory and like pulled up the stat screen and then like equipped the other and you saw the numbers go up and then you said to yourself, no, I'm gonna wear the first armor, even though it's objectively worse than the second armor. Like nobody would ever do that unless it just looked significantly cooler or it didn't matter or something, right? But in life, you have people that are like eating McDonald's every day and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes and chicken lettuce flounder and like literally just sabotaging themselves, but they can't see it on their like stat screen, so it just goes unnoticed because they don't have the cognitive dissonance.
That no, that's the maximum feel good play style. Like I want to feel good right now play style instead of the delayed gratification play style.
Dude, but that play style, I'm telling you, they've tricked themselves.
But
They're lying.
they feel good all the time when they're doing those insert activity here. At least it looks like they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. My play style, like, I guess what class would I be? I feel like I'd be maybe
You would be a scholar or something, I would say.
scholar. Yeah, scholar, like but like with the secondary attribute of like strength a little bit, I guess. Like a above average scholar in strength, I guess. what skills? I don't know. My hand-to-hand combat skill I'm working on. I'm trying to think what else. Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's it. I haven't really been cultivating any other skill lately. So,
I think I'm oh dude, what game are we pulling these classes from? Like what game has
any
a
game.
good any? Okay, then I'll do D&D. D&D 5e. Let's see what class I am.
You might be like is there like a healer class, like a priest or something? Or cleric or something?
All right. I'd say these classes are weird. These are like fighter, monk, druid, cleric, barbarian, bard, an inspiring magician whose power echoes the music of creation. No,
I don't think that
I don't
describes
sing
you at
music.
all.
We might be able to go with a cleric. I was looking for what are they called? Are they attributes?
I don't know.
The ones like athlete. I think it's attributes. Let's see here. Background. Yeah, background. So I guess I might be able to do a cleric. Athlete. Eh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I am. It's hard to put it into like classes because, like I said, I think what I'm trying to do is to be a lot of classes. You know what I mean? Like healer insofar as my career, scholar again, kind of in career and in just intellectual pursuits, naturalist as far as I like to be outside, maybe like botanist or alchemist with chemistry and shit like
So
that.
you're just like maybe like I don't know, like freestyle player. Is there such a thing? It's like a create your own. You're the like create your own class.
Yeah. No, no. Maybe I'm a plus
What's a
in the
plus?
LGBTQ plus. I'm
Uh,
a plus.
maybe. Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Oh, thanks, bro. You too.
Thanks. Also, but like I think, for example, in some games, like some people are just better at getting what they want. Like that there's like that in life too. Like some people just somehow find a way to get what they want, and
Yeah,
they just know how to play the game of life. Like they can they know how to talk to people. They they have like a sense for like good deals or stuff like that. And some people are clueless. Like some people are like, you know, how do I get out of this predicament that I created for myself that could have easily been avoided?
yeah, there are definitely people that are clueless. It is it is astonishing to me, like almost on a daily basis, how some people make it through like life on a you know, excuse the repetitive term, but daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like driving is where I noticed that the most. I'm like, oh
Oh yeah, we were
man.
just talking about that the other day.
Woo!
I
See,
think the lockdown people just
they've
they
like,
didn't get
dude,
out
I
and
swear
practice,
everybody
man.
forgot how to drive or something. It's really weird. I mean, like even
Yeah,
before
I
COVID, like people were like sketchy, but now it's just like I see people doing like a critical mistake every time I drive, like going through
no
a red
just
light or like merging in front of other people with no signal or all that stuff.
yeah, just today this guy like was taking an exit and then like you know how like usually once the exit starts leaving the straight highway, the like I guess corner or the intersection there for a little bit is like striped lines like denoting
Yeah, yeah.
basically don't fucking drive here. This guy's taking the exit and then he's like, "Oh, JK, fucking yeets it left over those lines and cuts somebody off by like 3 inches. I'm like, holy crap, dude. And then I just remembered the adage: a bad driver never misses his exit.
I never heard
That's
that one, but
like,
that's awesome. I'm gonna steal that. A bad driver never
yeah,
misses his exit. Yeah, I'm stealing that. Yeah, people are bad at the driving mini game.
for sure, dude. And
That's
it's
it's a
kind of
crazy
funny too.
mini game too. Like the reward is like you get to point B. That the like penalty is like death. It's a really crazy like trade off if you think about it for too long. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, you're going in a 1 ton vehicle, 60 miles an hour with a bunch of random strangers who you have no idea if they're actually like paying attention or like, whatever.
No, I trust me, man. I have like just this is why my driving style nowadays is get to the left lane as soon as possible, go a little bit faster than traffic, and if somebody is camping in the left lane, you don't get mad. You stay like 2 car lengths behind them, and you just wait until they get over. And once they get over, you can pass them. But like all this shit where people get into the middle lane and then try to yeet past the left. Oh my! Like when people don't follow the basic rules of like how a highway is supposed to operate, like left lane's the passing lane, and use your turn signals and stay a little bit behind or in
Don't
front
weave
of
in
the
between
cars. Like,
people and go 30
yeah,
miles above the
exactly.
speed limits.
It's it's uh it's something, man. And then the amount of people, I almost, dude. So I don't know if this is just not like common knowledge, but when there's like a red light and you're trying to make a right hand turn, in order to make a right hand turn at a red light, you have to stop. You have to
Right.
stop. You have to come to a complete stop, and then you can make a right hand turn. It doesn't matter how clear it is or how little people you think are coming. You have to stop. And I was walking downtown Cincy the other day on what was it, MLK and I don't know what street it was, but anyway, this car comes up to a red light thinking that they would just like maybe immediately be able to make a right hand turn. And luckily they like came to a stop, but they cruised right into the fucking crosswalk and came
Yep.
like 6 inches from hitting me. And I had to like jump out into the middle of the, I mean, not that I was going to get hit by any of the oncoming traffic because it wasn't like, I mean, the intersection is well designed. I didn't get into the middle of traffic by any means, but I almost got hit. Like, at 25, 30 miles an hour, I probably would have had a bruised hip or something. Wouldn't have felt good at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, was it in Clifton? Because people run red lights all the time in Clifton.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I don't know what the road is, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I
down
heard like
by.
I was before you said MLK, lights in Clifton, but yeah, yeah.
It's like, do you know where Harvey is?
No.
Do you know? All right, so you know where the like Chipotle and MLK is, right?
Yes.
All right, so like imagine you exit Chipotle, take a right, and you go like 1.5 or 2 blocks.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's at that intersection. The one right before McDonald's.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah, that's bad. That place is a mess.
Yeah.
um. Uh.
And I don't even want to describe the driver of this car because it's just gonna feed stereotypes. So
Yeah, we all know it
keep.
was a woman. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Uh. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For the millions of listeners. Okay. Speaking of women, like the romance mini game, I'm bad at that. That's like my lowest scoring mini game, I think. Definitely got to work on that. Play that game a few more rounds this summer, I think.
The romance minigame.
Or no, that's not even a mini game. That's like a side quest, I think. Like a side. That's definitely a side quest, in my opinion. Like it's above mini game. I guess the main
Are you
quest would
allowed to
be.
respec
Hmm.
in life? Can you respec?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, I know. I feel like I've used the Ben Franklin example, but he was like a printer, inventor, scientist, politician, diplomat, like writer. He was all of those things in like different parts of his life. I definitely think you can respec. I'm trying to think of other people that have respect. I mean, Steve. I mean, like, okay, I'm just gonna use the stereotypical like productivity examples just because I read both of their biographies, so I remember it pretty well. But like, Steve Jobs started out as like a hippie, and then he worked at Apple, and then he was fired from Apple basically, worked at Pixar and like turned Pixar into a juggernaut and went back to Apple.
Damn, I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, and he also had a brief stint at this company called Next, or is it Next? That was a computer company too. But yeah, like he made a complete career pivot like 3 times. So yeah, you can definitely respect. It's not easy though, I would say.
There's a lot
Uh,
of people that do the college major change thing, but I feel like that's not like a true respect.
that's like a soft respect.
Yeah. I feel no. I feel like it's even like it's like a soft respect because you got to think too that most of the people, unless you're changing majors like your junior or senior year, you're literally just doing gen eds anyway. So it doesn't matter if you shift your major because it's gonna knock out the same shit.
I almost switched from like electrical slash computer engineering to chemical engineering. That's a pretty hard respec. They're like nothing alike, or a pretty like hard soft respec. Whatever. Like yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
No, I
But
agree.
yeah, because there was this class signals and systems that's like about it's basically like applied differential equations to like electricity. I guess is how I would describe it. But if I failed that class, or I mean, not failed, but if I got a grade such that I couldn't go to the next signals and systems class, I was switching to chemical engineer, and I literally passed the class with the C minus by like 3 points.
Dude, you should have went chemical. Molecules are so cool.
Yeah, I mean that was my original like my all right. I'm trying not to dox myself. Like every college besides the one I ended up going to, I put chemical engineer, and the college I ended up going to, I was a computer engineer, just like on a whim. So yeah, I like to do stuff on a whim, which I don't know. It's more fun that way, as opposed to
Yeah, I
my
didn't know
sister.
that. That's funny.
Yeah, my sister like she plans out everything, like every single thing that's gonna happen or tries to, and I just like I literally play everything by ear. So that's my play style. I like to just do what I want to do. I don't like to follow a guide or anything. But yeah, 3 points away from being a chemical engineer, and it would have been at your school too. So because I was gonna transfer too, I was like, I was done. I was hashtag so done. So
And
the
imagine
twist,
if you transferred and met Brian in the engineering
the
department.
twists and turns of fate.
True. Are you happy that you spec'd in a computer instead of chemical?
Um, I th- I think chemical engineer like I would be better at probably, but I think computer you have way more flexibility as far as
Yeah.
like where you can work and what you can do. So I do respect that. So
That's definitely. Although, are you, did you say that they're making you go back into the office now?
yeah, but I was more referring to like job position or like I could work anywhere in the country. Like chemical engineer, I feel like you got to work near some sort of production plant or like in a research lab or something. I think.
I mean, yeah, but those are all over the country as well.
But I mean, like software engineers like you could work literally anywhere basically. I feel like. In addition, fully remote too if you are blessed and privileged enough to find such a position. I don't think. Can you be a remote chemical engineer? I don't think so,
Nah,
but
dude.
maybe.
I feel like the only way that you can get remote at those jobs where like it just doesn't seem like there'd be a remote position is if you get like so senior that people respect your opinion on the matter and they just like call you for remote consulting.
Yeah, which yeah, I I, I agree with that.
That's what I want to get to, dude. I'm gonna play a mini game so well that people just ask me how to play the mini game. And then I'll be like, dude, I'll tell you for a little bit of currency. That's the end game.
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, what is I think my end game is being a samurai, like I said in whatever episode that was. So
Hell yeah.
I don't know how I get there, but like I said, my playing it by ear play style, I will figure it out.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I vaguely remember that, but I want to hear this again. That sounds awesome.
Basically, I just like spend all day like either
All training body and mind.
training my body or my mind, yeah, with no distractions.
I
I mean, I kind
mean,
of do that, but not really. Not to the level I
do
want to.
do samurais like have family and talk to them?
I I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't read much about the samurais to be honest. Most of my what I read about Japan is like about judo and stuff like that, which is I mean there's like an offspring of the samurai like combat system, but
I see. Yeah, I don't know anything about samurais, but it seems like
it's basically like a knight, a medieval knight, but in Japan instead of in Europe.
yeah, but it just seems like a I don't know. I mean, it seems like I could very reasonably see it like samurais not being able to see their wives or not being able to have wives
It's fine. I'm
or
already failing at the
families.
romance side quest, so
Yeah, but I mean, like same thing. It'd be like same thing with friends. You'd just be like fucking isolated like a monk doing your shit. And it's like, I mean, if that's your calling, I ain't gonna stop you.
maybe who knows. Like I said, I'm in between. I'm like in between quests right now. I'm just like idling about in the central hub of
Dude,
the
I'm in between quests right now too. I think
life
my next big
RPG.
quest is PA school.
I'm trying to think what else. What other life RPG like things? Let me grab my phone. I have the text messages. I'll be back in like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. That was like I think that was 11 seconds, but who's counting? Let's see. Ooh. What about like bad RNG? Like have you had any bad RNG in your life?
Dude, yeah, I mean, like, basically, without getting too deep into it, yeah, the last, like, month has been pretty bad RNG. I mean, I had a car that broke down, and sheesh.
Yeah, I had my catalytic converter stolen twice. That's pretty bad RNG.
I had yeah, some health issues starting with a ankle that got snapped. Like,
Yeah, who did that? That's crazy.
yeah, dude, bad RNG. Like, that's what I'm saying.
No, I guess I had a back injury. That was pretty bad. That's bad RNG. Asthma, that's like bad bad physical RNG, I guess. I don't know.
RNG, random number generator, just
But
for the millions of listeners.
yeah, for I guess in like a video game thing, it's just like random chance, like random things that can happen. I think I've had a lot of good RNG though. I've met a lot of good people and I've gotten lucky in some certain situations. So yeah, I would say overall I have decent RNG, but I like some people are just lucky.
Like Tom.
Yeah, like our friend Tom, he might be not the luckiest
Tom's
dude
been
ever,
on the
but he's
podcast
definitely
before.
his luck is above average.
Tom's a lucker dog.
Like if you ever hear stories about his college days, he's just a lucky dude. Like yeah, he has like above average luck for sure. And in video games, aka video games, he has above average luck. So I guess like the best RNG is like winning the lottery. And the worst RNG is like getting struck by a lightning or like a meteorite in your backyard or this might be too soon, but like that condo that collapsed in Florida, that's pretty bad RNG. Like
Oh yeah.
you no control over that. That was like last year, I think.
Dude, what about like living in Flint, Michigan? That's just bad RNG too. You don't have
Yeah,
control over the water supply being shite. Yeah, I mean, overall, I like to think I have good RNG, but I can definitely like if so. Like, I think anyone can if you just like ask someone like, "Hey, why does your life suck?" Like, I'm sure they could go on if prompted, but
Yeah.
I think it typically behooves you to look at it the opposite way.
Yeah, I think you always have, well, not always, but most of the time you have agency to like try to fight your way out, even if it would be hard. But yeah,
Do you think minigames have utility?
I mean, yeah, like mini games have utility in like video games too, but I think there's a certain point there's of like diminishing returns. So, but I guess like yeah, like this is like where the analogy breaks down a little bit because like you can make money playing video games or you can like, meet cool people doing it, but I think if you do it the wrong way where you're just like locked in your room like playing Fallout like every single day and
Yeah,
not interacting with anybody, then
I think I think it's basically like this. Like, there's a lot of people that say like the meaning of life is just to like try to be as happy as possible and like avoid suffering. I don't agree with that, but I do think there is an aspect of like without being a complete degenerate, like you said, you should strive to suffer less and enjoy more. And I think that necessitates involving yourself in a decent amount of video games, or not video games, mini games rather, that you find both fulfilling on like a mental or like a higher level, and then also just generally fun.
I
But
think
like I said before, I also think the social aspect in like most things is a very important part, or
yeah.
you have to have the social somewhere. What were you about to say?
I mean, I was gonna say like add the caveat like it needs to be with good people though, like people that like have goals and like have empathy for other people and stuff like that. I think is kind of important because if you surround yourself with like assholes that don't have any goals, I feel like that's not good.
Yeah, I feel like the ultimate like thing in life as well is like the people you meet and the moments you have with them versus like the achievements that you or like the things that you own or the achievements that you've done. I think more people remember the people and like the best way to meet people isn't just like going to the bar necessarily. It's probably finding them in mini games that you enjoy because then you're gonna at least have that one underlying common interest you can
Yeah.
talk about. Like jujitsu is a great one.
Yeah.
Climbing too.
I think like gyms like that where it's not like working out, um it's like an activity as opposed to like, just doing your own thing. It's definitely more conducive to social interaction.
Yeah. Anything that you're able to gamify as well. How long in the tooth are we?
38 minutes and 55 seconds. I was just trying to
We
think
have
like I
we have
think
time for another really good topic. I think of one.
I kind of want to, I guess this isn't like our original notes document, but like how important do you think it is like okay, hard segue. There's no basically nothing in this previous topic that's going to relate to this next topic. So, all right. Um how important do you think it is like to know the history of something when you're doing it um like I'll use the RuneScape example and I'll use some other examples like in RuneScape, like I know the old school server, which is like a re-release of the 2007 server. It was started by this player named Sorek3D who made this poll, and the poll was proposed to Jagex to release this old server. And like I was there on the first day the game was made, and I saw all these players doing stuff and remember what the game was like originally versus a player now like a modern player wouldn't know any of that stuff. They just like think the world like their experience was like this is the way it's always been. No, it had like it was built up from scratch, and when the game was re-released, it's actually like pretty bare bones. So my other example is MMA slash UFC. So like I can like start watching the fights today, right? But the more like old fights you watch and like seeing who's risen and fallen through the years and like the great moments in the sport, I think it gives you a greater appreciation for like the overall culture of mixed martial arts. And like when those two fighters step into the octagon, it's like a legendary arena where so much crazy shit has happened over the years. And I think it gives you more respect for what you're watching if you know the history of it. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, I think all that's true, but I think there's also like a lot of people that have certain things that they just don't care that much about, so they don't really get into the history or the
But do you think
weeds
they
of it
would
beyond like a
benefit
surface level.
from learning that history though?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, it depends. Like, so say, like, there's a lot of people that come to the climbing gym and, like, go there, sign the waiver, watch the intro video, get themselves some rental shoes, and, like, they're obviously, it's their first time there, right? It's the first time routine. So they don't know anything about the history of climbing. And if they're only planning on climbing, like, a few times in their life, who's to say that they don't go to a climbing gym 3 times and think it's the coolest fucking thing ever all 3 times, but have zero interest of like climbing outside or becoming a professional climber or learning any of the history of climbing? It's like, yeah, learning the history of climbing or learning a lot of the techniques or like watching, YouTube videos and getting deeper into it, I think would be both entertaining and beneficial to their climbing. But I don't think necessarily that like becoming a good climber like means that they're going to become a better person or have more like greater fulfillment in life. Like maybe they're like a great alpine skier and that's like their calling, but like again, the climbing gym gave them great joy like 3 times in their life. You can't take away from that, but I think it's like a picking and choosing things that mean the most to you. And I think that somebody that doesn't have any of that in their life, where they don't dive deeper than a surface level in something, are definitely missing out. But I don't think that you have to do that with everything. And I don't think doing that with everything necessarily makes you like a more like a better person or like you know
I think it gives you
more.
better appreciation for everything though. Like if
Yeah, but you don't necessarily need to be able to appreciate everything. You know what I mean? Like
um
you don't appreciate the French language, I don't think, because you don't know French.
I mean, I don't know French, but like I respect like the French culture. The French are like very gatekeepery about their culture and their language, and they try to like preserve the purity of their culture and like kind of like don't like American culture at all. So I mean I respect that, but and
Yeah, but that's
also
like super surface level.
how much did you know about what I just said?
I mean, yeah, I know that French. Like, I mean, my girlfriend took French in high school, and I know a bit about the French. I definitely knew the tidbit that they don't like people coming over and trying to speak their language, unlike other
But I mean,
countries.
like in my example, it's like something that I do all the time. Like UFC, like I know a
Yeah,
lot about.
something that you do all the time. I think it might bring benefit to your life, but still, I don't think it's like necessarily always equals like great benefit. I don't think diving deeper is like always something that like someone's gonna find benefit in getting like the history.
Well, like for example, like people shit on America so much, but like I feel like if they actually knew the history of America, like on a deep level, they would appreciate it more. Like it's the American experiment. Like no country has ever like scaled up representative democracy to the level that we have and experienced the kind of like created the like I mean, I think you can make an argument that the American culture is like one of the most influential and powerful cultures ever. And it wasn't like done overnight either. There was a lot of trial and tribulation in the Civil War and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like if people understood history more, they would at least they would have a more nuanced argument when they would say America sucks, other than like whatever. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, I mean that's true, but again, my argument is I don't believe that, if you take we'll say European person or someone who's not American, and they learn the history of America, and then they develop a more nuanced argument for why America sucks. I don't think that always will equate to them having better quality of life, was the point that I'm making. But I would put forth that having at least a few subjects in your life that you care enough about to dive into the history of them and get into the weeds and be able to talk eloquently and intelligently about a subject matter, I think that does bring quality of life. But I don't think that you need to do that to everything. And I don't even think that if you sit here and say that you should know this, that I think that I am obligated to think the same as you, and insofar as thinking that somebody should know something. Because it's like, how many times do you just like in your life do you go through like assuming somebody knows some information and then you get burnt because they don't know that information? You're like, what? Who the fuck doesn't know like, this, that, or the other? And then it's just like, oh well, maybe they have like a different upbringing or like a different scope of like care than you do, and
Yeah,
it's
but on the other hand, for that, like sometimes what I do, I like assume the person doesn't know anything, and I'll like, which usually they don't, and then I'll like start explaining shit, and they'll like, I'm like condescending or whatever. I'm not trying to come off that way, but like if I say something and you don't know the background, like you're not gonna understand what I'm saying, so I'm wasting my time by like talking about this subject. I can't think of like a specific example right now, but that happens to me like more often than not. That's why like I don't talk that much to people I don't know because I need to figure out what they know and don't know first before I start talking. I feel like because if not, I can go into this long tangent about shit they just like don't know or care
yeah. But I
about.
mean, you could always start the conversation with saying like, "Hey, stop me if I'm saying things that you already know." But da
Yeah,
da
but
da
I don't
da
know.
da
That's like
da.
a weird interaction to have with somebody. I don't know. I'd rather just
Yeah, I
listen.
mean, I guess,
Like when I meet
but
people, at first I listen for like a really long time, like a really long time before I start like really talking, just because. So
yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of where I stand on that. Um, I don't think you necessarily need to be able to appreciate the history of everything.
I do. I do because I think everybody would be a better person if they understood more about history, like history in general, but also like the history of stuff they do. You get a better appreciation and like respect for the human
It,
race and stuff, I believe.
but you're looking through like the lens of somebody that's like able to learn somewhat efficiently and like doesn't have to worry about like getting evicted or like just other like general more kind of like primal life stressors that a lot of Americans kind of have to deal with. So,
I mean, I feel like people have free time and they can watch YouTube about stuff and learn about stuff. I don't know.
dude, but
I
there's
feel
like
like
a
a lot of
lot of
people have a lot of
people.
free time, so
There's a lot of people that just aren't called to do higher level thinking. I feel
I don't
like
even think
there's
that's higher level thinking. It's just like learning that this thing happened.
dude.
Is that
I
higher
I mean
level
that,
thinking?
bro. All I'm saying is there's like that Jordan Peterson quote where he says that people with an IQ of less than it's like 60 or something are basically just going to be useless because they can't really do anything besides like maybe very simple repetitive jobs, and it's like you expect that type of person to be able to seek out and then appreciate the history of something. It's like,
I mean, a high Q of 60 is like in the sub 1% like minority of people though. So, I feel like that's like a pretty far outlier.
is it? Because
Yeah.
whatever
I think the average is like 90 or 80, isn't it? And the average is this huge fat this or not fat tail bell curve or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to go back and see what he said and what the number actually ends up being percentage of people, but
Also, just because like Jordan Peterson said it, like doesn't I don't like necessarily agree everything that comes out of his mouth. So, but I mean, I respect the fact that there are some people that aren't capable of learning, but I offer the counterpoint
yeah,
that
but my I mean
many
my
people
point,
many people that are capable of learning it don't. So,
yeah, I mean I also agree with that, but I still think it's unfair to like expect people to. I mean, look, I'm not saying that it's optimal to like work your 9 to 5 and then come home and watch Netflix until midnight and then you get 5.5 hours of sleep or that doesn't line up, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's optimal, but like expecting somebody that is in that sort of routine to just fucking snap their fingers and start learning about like Aristotle and the history of like philosophy, you're fucking like you're dreaming. No
Well,
one's
most people
that's not
don't.
gonna
They don't
happen.
use Aristotle and the history of philosophy in their daily life. But if they, I'm talking about like just anything they do in their daily. Like another thing that Jordan Peterson said was like, don't denigrate institutions that you like don't understand why they're there. That was why I brought up the America thing earlier. Like people like are so quick to shit on America, but they just don't understand like the full context of why this country was like you know exists in the first place. So
Yeah, I mean, I I think people have many reasons to shit on America nowadays, whether from the right or the left, but it's been happening for quite a while too, even from Americans, and it's like increasingly from Americans, people are shitting on America, so I don't see that turning around anytime soon, especially on the world stage. But I think the only thing you can do is hold a positive viewpoint of the country, or if you have a negative viewpoint, seek to leave the country or start your own country, and then
yeah.
associate with like-minded people when it comes to that.
I think they talk about that in the Sovereign Individual at some point. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
could see that.
I guess that's about all I had to say really for this
I
discussion.
I got one for you. So obviously, or it might maybe I'm wrong here, but it seems obvious to me that you think America is number one. What other country, like if shit hit the fan and you wanted to get out of here, where are you moving to?
I don't know, probably Canada.
Dude, that would have been my answer, but they've recently kind of
Oh,
gone a
dude,
little
actually no,
crazy.
I changed my mind. Yeah, Canada's messed up. I forgot like that Justin Trudeau like sucks like big time. Shoot, I have no idea. Honestly, that would be a hard one.
Dude, I would go to like some third world country and live in a village, I think.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You
I
gotta
don't know.
pick
I
one,
know my
dude.
my quality of life would definitely be lower wherever I went. So
Yeah, most likely. I do want to travel the world at some point and experiment with living elsewhere, just to at the very least have a newfound appreciation for current living
I
circumstances.
think
But
I think like I don't know. We just get so much freedom here that like people take for granted. Like, you get so much freedom, man. It's nuts. Like yeah,
yeah, but I mean that's the shtick, isn't
guess so. Because with great power comes great responsibility. Spider Man.
it? You got any other topics you want to hit?
I think I'm good, and we're almost in an hour, so I'm happy with ending episode 14 here. So agree to disagree on that one, and then the life as an RPG was just kind of like an interesting, like an interesting little exercise, I suppose. So
Dude, I don't I like I mean I partially agree with you. I think we kind of have similar sentiments, but you just take a more extreme viewpoint on it.
yeah,
Because
I
like
get.
I think that everybody should have things that they do that with. And I think generally there's topics that like if somebody hasn't gone deeper and understands history of it, then you look at them kind of weird, and you're just like, okay. Like, for example, just very basic like U.S. history, like recent presidents or something, right?
Yeah.
Like if you walked up to someone like, "Hey, you remember when Bush was president?" and they're like, "Bush, who's that?" And you're like, before Obama, right?" They're like, "There was a president before Obama?" If they said something outlandish like that, you're like, "Oh my god!" And it's like,
Yeah, that ain't
I
good.
like they have a right to do that. They live in America.
Yeah.
I don't think that everybody should be forced to learn the history of everything. I do think there certainly are subjects that you look at people weird if they don't know the history of it, and I also think that everybody should have some things that they kind of go deep into, as I've said, but I don't take it the step further and think that everybody should know everything.
Yeah. I guess like the main like reason I was thinking of this because like say I'm watching like UFC with all my buddies that watch fights all the time. Like we've seen a lot of these fighters like come up from like the beginning, and you just have like a much greater appreciation like um for them like later in their career because you've seen them go through, adversity and stuff, and you have like a greater context of what's happening versus like somebody that just watches like the fight and they don't know any of the fighter's history. Um I mean, they would still be excited, but not, I don't think they have the same level of appreciation as the historian people do. So
Yeah, but I also like, and see, this is where I think it breaks down a little bit because I think, and maybe this is slightly different, and I'll concede that it probably is at least a little different. But when I'm watching fights with you, for example, I don't know any of these people, and then I fancy myself smart enough to at least ask like the right questions to get a TLDR of these guys, and then I can appreciate it. So that's why I'm saying I think human connections are way more important than anything else because it's way easier for me to make a friend with somebody that's an expert in something and get a TLDR of whatever kind of information I need, and then just be smart enough to use that information versus actually knowing everything.
yeah,
Because
but
I'm more
like
than
you don't
happy
have
to
like
hear from you.
the same like visceral
Yeah,
feeling as I do, though. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like,
yeah, but like I've been saying this whole time, I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to for everything.
yeah, I think it's good though. Like, I'm trying to get at like it's better though. Not you don't necessarily need it, but it's better. So
I think there's infinite things in the world, and I don't think it's better that you choose one thing and I choose another.
it's not. That's not even what I'm saying. I'm just saying like if you have the chance, you should try to learn the history of what you're interested in because you'll get a greater
Yes, there.
appreciation. Okay, that's what
Yes,
I'm trying to
what
say.
you're interested. So then we're on the same page. Because my point this whole time has been that there's gonna be things that you're not as interested in. So it's like a triaging thing.
Yeah,
You gotta pick your the lowest hanging fruit, and at some point it's gonna be maybe there's a third language you can learn, or you can learn your second one better, and it's like maybe learning your second one better is more efficient for the time being, and sometimes you just got to accept that. But yeah, we're finally on the same page. I think
okay.
we
I
agree to agree now.
okay, cuz I feel like that's what I was always saying, and then like I wish like that was what I was saying, and then I was like wishing people would understand more about America because they shit on it so quickly without like truly understanding the American experiment. So
I
I
think
want them to
people are
shit on
well within
America in a
their
nuanced way. That's all.
people, at least on the world stage, they can shit on America all day if they want to. I mean, I think it's reasonable that if they shit on America for unreasonable reasons, that people can argue back as to why they're being unreasonable,
Yeah.
but again, that's kind of the nature of free speech. Um, as far as domestic criticisms of America, I think the general establishing like a general zeitgeist of America sucks is a disservice to our citizenship, but specific criticisms along with solutions to try to make the country a better place, like in genuine fashion, I think is great.
Yeah, I agree, but unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to be like that in our what's the word I'm trying to say in our government. So, but I guess that's like a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we wrapped that up, put a bow on it. You want to
Yeah.
end?
Thanks for listening to us meander through episode 14, audience, and we will see you next time.
Peace.